Well, good afternoon, and welcome to the Tippie College of Business webinar series. My name is Adam McLaughlin, Director of Alumni Engagement here at Tippie, and it's a pleasure to be here with you all today. We're excited to bring you a special program, The State of the College with Tippie Dean Amy Kristof-Brown. Dean Kristof-Brown will provide an engaging recap of the past academic year, highlighting key developments and accomplishments from across the Tippie College of Business, along with a look at what's ahead. Before we begin today, just a quick reminder that today's webinar is being recorded and will be available on the Tippie Lifelong Learning page and on our YouTube channel. Past webinar recordings are also available there, all of which are free and open to the public, so feel free to share these resources with others. We will leave some time at the end for some questions at the end of our program. Please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen to submit your questions, and we'll do our best to address as many as possible. Now, I am honored to introduce Dean Amy Kristof-Brown. Dean Kristof-Brown joined Tippie College of Business in 1997 and has served as the Henry B. Tippie Dean since 2020. Over the years, she has held several key leadership roles within the college, including Department Executive Officer, Senior Associate Dean, and Interim Dean. An award-winning professor in management and entrepreneurship, Dean Kristof-Brown is also a distinguished scholar whose research focuses on the concept of person-environment fit, exploring how individuals align in their work environments. She is a fellow of the American Psychological Association and the Society for Industrial and Organizational Psychology, and has contributed extensively to the field through her editorial work, including as co-editor of the book, Organizational Fit, Key Issues and New Directions, and as associate editor for the Journal of Applied Psychology and the Journal of Business and Psychology. Most recently, Dean Kristof-Brown was honored as one of the Corridor Business Journal's 2025 Women of Influence, a well-deserved recognition of her impact and leadership. Amy, thank you so much for being here with us today. I will now turn the program over to you.
All right, thanks, Adam. I will try to do my best to be engaging, as that is what Adam has promised all of you. So thank you for joining us today. This is one of my favorite events of the year, getting to really talk to anybody out there who wants to hear about what's going on in the College of Business. And I love to talk about Tippie, so this is an easy thing for me to do. First thing that I want to do before we even jump into my comments is just to say a big thank you. In our Biz Edge program, which is a mentorship program between peers in the college, they always start out with moments of gratitude. And so I think that's a nice way to start our comments out today, is just a great big thank you for all of you who are watching today who also contributed to our One Day for Iowa. It was a terrific campaign for Tippie, raising over $100,000 in one day for a variety of different funds that we have that support initiatives in the schools. So thank you for all of you who participated in that program. It'll come around again next year, so be looking for it in your social media channels. We always love hearing from folks across the country and around the world. I want to talk today a little bit, give you a review of our 24-25 academic year. I call it a banner year because we are top of the charts in a lot of things that we've really been striving for. So I hope what you hear from me today is a lot of optimism and just a lot of pride in terms of where we've been, what we've done in this year, and also some real excitement about where we're going. First thing I want to mention is our rankings. That's something that I get asked about a lot. You know, I say Tippie's a great business school, but you shouldn't believe me just because I'm the dean. We start to look at really official rankings by people that are our peers. And so a lot of these rankings come in and they're calculated by reputation scores from deans around the country. And I am really, really pleased to say that all of our programs now are ranked in the top 25 public programs, undergraduate, part-time MBA, online MBA, MSBA, which is our online master's in business analytics. All of them have just achieved great reputation scores from our peers, and we're so proud of what this is bringing us. Somebody asked me the other day, what does a ranking tell you? And it really tells us how other people view us, but it also is a tremendous way for us to recruit new students. So when I ask students, you know, what made you become interested in Tippie, they'll say, well, I looked at the rankings and, you guys were in the top 25 and that piqued my interest. And then I started to investigate more. So you'll see I have a lot of the ones highlighted in red that we're really excited about this year. I want to call special attention. We have a number of outstanding programs, but special attention to our RMI program. That stands for Risk Management and Insurance. And if you have watched these webinars before, you will know that we just launched that major back in 2023, and it is already viewed as the number 8 top program in the country, number 7 public program in the country. So being in the top 10 in the first 2 years of a new program is really terrific. And I'm so proud and grateful of all of the work from our faculty and staff that have gone into creating these really outstanding programs. We are, as we say it loud and proud, Iowa's #1 business school. This year was fun for us because we got to celebrate a lot of anniversaries and also some new beginnings. This year was our 40th celebration of what used to be called the Board of Visitors. Now we call it the Tippie Advisory Board. And these are individuals who come and help us multiple times a year make big decisions, plan strategy, figure out how we can create great opportunities and continue to be a thriving business school. So we rely on their support and advice greatly, and this was their 40th anniversary this year. We also celebrated 25 years of our Hawkinson Institute for Investment Banking and our Institute for International Business, both really nice connections with the outside world, as we call it. This year, we also launched our first executive in residence, and I'm delighted that Fred Crawford was able to join us in this program. An executive in residence is someone who is retiring or taking a break from a point in their career and then comes back and works with us for a year. Really, I say works, but it's volunteers because we can't pay them very much. But they come and they spend time with us, and they help us do things like design programs, coach students, speak in classes, and just overall give us help in terms of creating new opportunities for students. And Fred has been a wonderful addition to our team, working with the Vaughn Institute, which is our risk management and insurance. And he has just been a great connection to the industry for us. So Fred was our inaugural executive in residence, but he will not be our last. We are already getting ready to sign up our next one for next year. Some other highlights were our business community events. This year we hosted our 10th Tippie Summit. We brought a terrific panel of folks together to talk about issues facing advancement in the workplace. With that evening, we held a very popular conversation on the business of women's sports. I love this picture mostly because it has a picture of me standing next to Caitlin Clark's mom, and no, she's not standing on a step next to me. There is really that much of a height difference between us. It was a terrific evening. We had representatives from ESPN, from the Kansas City's women's soccer team. It was just a great evening talking about all of the advances that have happened in women's sports recently. We were also on the road for the Hawkinson anniversary celebration. We were in New York and Chicago this year celebrating their anniversary, bringing together new students that are going into investment banking, also with alumni of the program who have taken residence in those cities. And we had some folks join us from around the country, people flying in from California to see old friends and classmates, and it was really just a terrific opportunity. Our students have been busy, not just in the classroom, but also spending time in case competitions. Case competitions are something relatively new, and it gives our students an opportunity to compete against teams from other universities across the country on specific topics. Our students do extremely well in these competitions. Their communication skills, presentation skills really set them up in a way to do very well in these competitions. You see we placed first both in the undergraduate and the graduate level of the Collegiate Sports Analytics competition, second place in the University of Washington's Milgard Invitational, and then very, very proud right here in Des Moines just about a month ago, we took first place in the Global Insurance Symposium, which was a collection of teams presenting on emerging topics in risk management and insurance. And we walked away with a very nice check from the Global Insurance Symposium, and also visibility for our program, which again contributes to those continuing rankings. We also have had record enrollments. This spring, we actually had more students than we had in the fall. Typically, we graduate students in December, and then we enroll a couple of new ones in the spring, but not very many. And this year, we actually enrolled more students in January than we graduated in December. So we passed our goal of 4,000 students. We had set that goal for 2027, and we already passed it in January of 2025. The fall 2020, I'm sorry, this is a mistake on the slide. It should be fall 2025 enrollment. I'm already thinking about next year, but this is our enrollment for the fall. We are looking at a 6% increase of incoming new students to the college. That is in our direct admit students. Those are the students that join us in their freshman year. Our standard admit and transfer students, those are ones who have come in as pre-business students. They may be around the university in other majors, and then they join us after they pass some entrance requirements, and just tremendous growth in the econ BA and BS degree program, which Tippie is taking over this fall. So it'll be good to see some new economists coming out. Our online graduate programs are also continuing to just exceed goals like crazy. Our spring Iowa MBA this past spring that we just finished was up over 7% over the prior spring. Our summer MBA enrollments, it's hard to get students to take classes in the summer, but these are all working professionals, and they are excited to keep advancing their careers. And so our enrollments in that program were also up by 13% this summer, which is tremendous. Online Masters in Business Analytics also up 8.5%, and our fall enrollments for fall 2025 look to be also really on pace with all of our growth goals. So we are looking at an absolute boom in terms of number of students, and that's keeping us quite busy. I want to tell you where they are. I always get questions about our most popular majors. So these are our undergraduate students. You will see that finance is just dominating the chart here. Those numbers have been growing steadily since fall of 2023. We now, in the spring, had over 1,200 finance students. Some of those graduated in May, so when we start back in the fall, we should probably be at about 1,000. But this is just a tremendous number of students. And we know that one of the biggest growing industries in Iowa and the biggest areas for need for talent is in finance and risk management. And so there, you'll see us getting our students ready to step into those jobs. That's the green line in finance and the purple line in risk management and insurance. In the 2 years of that program, we are well up to about over 300 students. Second in popularity right now is marketing. That continues to really be strong. And BAIS, which is Business Analytics and Information Systems. And for all of the accountants out there, you will be glad to see a really nice, healthy growth in the gold line here, which is our accounting students. If you recall, last fall, we were really trying to find ways to continue to entice students into accounting because we know that there's a real lack of pipeline right there right now. And we introduced a corporate accounting track. So students don't have to go directly into public accounting. They don't always have to do the 150 hours or get a master's degree. They could go straight into working in accounting with the corporate. And we think that that has had a very nice influence on the uptick in those majors. So to teach those students, we are continuing to increase our faculty. We are up to 165 permanent faculty that work with us, and that's of a variety of different kinds. Our tenure track faculty, which is the gray line that you see here, that is the largest number that we have ever had in the history of the college, which is terrific for us. That continues to build our research reputation as well as teach our students. Our instructional track faculty, you'll see that number dipped just slightly from last year, and we anticipate adding to it. Those are our faculty who come in and carry a tremendous teaching and service load for us. Clinical and visiting faculty stay about the same, but our tenured and tenure track and instructional are both going up, which is a really nice Nice thing to have when we're facing a lot of incoming new students. I'll just share a couple of highlights of some recent faculty news. We have 4 faculty that I've highlighted here. Andrea Lewengrath from marketing, who was selected as one of the 4 Iowa Mid-Career Scholars from all across the university, saying that she has tremendous potential for going into leadership and really being one of the best in her field. We have Professor Rong Su, who is a Mahoney Faculty Fellow, and she was selected to the Society for Industrial Organizational Psychology. That's the highest ranking honor that you can get in a society. Professor Eric Lee, many of you know him. He's our department chair in finance. He holds the Amelia Tippie Chair, and he published a book that some of you might be interested in. It's called Wealth Management, and it's really geared to empower individuals. This is not an academic book. It is geared for regular people to read and to learn about really managing their wealth from their first job all the way through retirement. And then finally, Professor Patrick Phan, a Tippie Excellence Chair, was selected as one of the 2 presidential lectures this year. And Professor Phan's work really focuses on how to use AI, and we talk about this as large language models, to better support decision-making for businesses and consumers. So he uses algorithms to read through consumer comments and ideas that people have posted, reviews that they've posted, to really be able to pull out where are there quality malfunctions in automobiles, in hospitals, all of the things that we rely on every day to be successful and healthy. And so his work really speaks to that, and he was selected by the president to talk about that at a campus-wide lecture. So great things are happening, great things in the college. I have to say it's probably one of the best years we've ever had. Financially, we don't have all the numbers in yet, but we had a really terrific year. Financially, we're very solid and going into good standing for the next year. We are, however, facing some pretty significant winds of change. So I'd like to address those and talk about what we're doing and how I think we have a good formula for moving ahead and succeeding in the environment that we're in currently. I'll just reorient back to the Tippie College mission. Our mission is to provide business education and research to produce bold solutions for a changing world. And the world that we are in right now has changed dramatically in the last year. And so we are thinking about what we can do and how we respond in ways that are most optimal for our students and the companies that we work with. Just a couple of the macro environment trends that we are facing, not just Tippie, but certainly higher education in general. Government and legislation, the administrative priorities are changing, and we're being asked to do some different things. We are being asked to think about different ways that we fund things and who we teach and what we teach and how we teach. And so that's something that we are actively working to make sure that we are always doing what's legal and what's expected and what is good for students. So we also know that the funding models that universities are facing are going to be changing. For many, many years, grant funding has supported a lot of the research expenditures in universities. That grant funding is being reduced, whether it is grants that are being canceled or whether it is a reduction in the amount of payments that the granting agencies, and these are things like National Science Foundation, NSF, National Institutes of Health, DOE, Department of Education, they are all reducing the amounts that they will now pay to colleges. And that means that we have to reduce staff. And that means that we have to reduce the number of things that we do to be able to accomplish it within our new funding structures. There are also some proposed changes to taxation, and that is something that we're just keeping an eye on, but I'm not sure whether that's going to hit us as directly as the grant funding will. In the College of Business, we don't have a lot of direct grant money that comes into us, but the University of Iowa as a whole does. We are heavily involved in doing research in health, doing research in the sciences, and all of those areas are going to be being cut back. So that's something that as the College of Business, we keep a really close eye on because eventually those changes will end up impacting us as well. In terms of demographics, I think you've heard me speak before about the domestic enrollment cliff. That is the fact that this year's high school graduating class was the biggest ever. And so the number of students that we have coming in this fall is really reflective of the fact that the number of high school graduates was growing. That changes next year. So the enrollment cliff happens because after the financial crisis in 2008, 2009, people just didn't have as many children. And that lasted for several years. And so that means that our pipeline of 18-year-olds is going to drop fairly dramatically next year. Some states are affected more than others. Iowa's goes down about 4%. Illinois goes down about 16%. And we do have a lot of students coming from Illinois. So we have to be very mindful and stay very appealing to students in terms of our brand, because in a shrinking pool of students, you want to be the top choice. And that's where the rankings come into play and the quality of our programs come into play. We are also seeing a pretty dramatic drop in our international students. That is heavily reflected of things that are going on in terms of national policy toward international travel, international visas. All of that impacts particularly our graduate programs. And so we are having to make sure that whenever we have international students who are here, we're finding ways to support them and make sure that they can continue their studies. And we are anticipating a drop in students coming in from other countries. So that's something that we have to reckon with. But as business schools go, we are probably less impacted by that than some of our coastal neighbors. So we're in a position where we feel that it is still going to be manageable. And then overall, I would say there's been a more negative slant in public opinion toward institutions of higher education, institutions in general. But higher ed has certainly been questioned because of the high cost and the mounting debt that students face. And so that's something that we take very seriously, and we make sure that we address it at the University of Iowa. We also know that a lot of people now turn to TikTok for expertise, and that is not that's not supportive of people doing great research in these areas. So what we're trying to do is put some of our research out on social media channels so that people have access to it there and can really learn to differentiate between high quality research and just what an influencer decides that they want to put out there for people to consume. So universities are being hit hard. All places, all of our peers are facing cutbacks. A lot of states are facing budget deficits, which they are then passing on to their universities. These are just a couple of examples. We have many of our Big Ten peers are facing budget cuts, furloughs, travel restrictions, all kinds of things that are really doing damage to the universities. The University of Iowa is not in that position. We are still working very effectively with the state, and we are making sure that what we're showing to them is that we are being responsible stewards of the money that they provide to support the state universities. We have very strong financial fiscal responsibility at the university level and also at the college level. So we're in a good position here and not facing some of these ultimate financial challenges that our peers are facing at this time. So what is Iowa's plan to win? This is a slide that President Wilson shares quite frequently, and I love to share it as well. Iowa's plan to win is that we are both a premier university, and yet we are also accessible and highly committed to student retention. So I'll walk you through the chart really quickly. Iowa is one of only 3 universities that educates over 20,000 undergraduate students. There's 102 of us. Is research intensive, and that is designated by being a member of the AAU, which is the highest, most research intensive universities. It's very hard to get in that categorization, and it's very hard to stay there. So University of Iowa is very proud to be a member of the AAU. We are also one of the few universities that is open to most who apply. So we do not have a 10% acceptance rate. We let in a lot of students to the University of Iowa who we deem to be capable of doing college education. And then, really importantly, we are laser focused on student retention. So out of that group, 90% of them stay from their first year to their second year. First year retention is a really critical indicator of student success, and we're laser focused on that. So when we talk about Tippie, we have attainable excellence. It's the message that I use a lot. No qualified Iowan is turned away. We have an online MBA program that reaches working professionals wherever they live and work. And we have programs that truly are premier. As I showed you at the beginning of the talk, in the top 25 of the comparable programs across the country. We are still highly affordable, and over 50% of Iowa students do not graduate with any debt. So it is something that we are very proud of, and we continue to keep an eye on it. We make sure that if students are coming here, they are able to pay for it, and they are not walking out of here with something that's going to follow them in terms of a debt burden that will last for years and years. So we're doing the best that we possibly can through keeping tuition at a reasonable level. We're very, very good compared to our peers, and also making sure that we generate student financial aid that helps support them. And a lot of that comes in through philanthropy. So for those of you who help support scholarship initiatives, I thank you for that, because it is helping us keep the debt ratio down for our students. I want to talk about one program briefly, and that's our Gateway program. I think this is a great example of how we are making sure that a program like Tippie is accessible for anyone who is wanting to be here and capable of being here. Our Gateway program is a high school bridge program. That means that we do it in the summer between their junior year and their senior year. So when they're starting to think about college, or we hope that they're starting to think about college. And we have opened this program. Initially, it started as a program for underrepresented students in business. We have broadened this program for anyone who feels that they are anxious about coming to the university. They may come from an underfunded high school. They may be a first generation student. A large portion of our Gateway students are first generation, so they're the first in their family to go to college, a four-year college. The program is supported by corporate support in the summer so that it is free to those juniors to come to campus, and they live with us and they work with us for a week. We interact with them. We do projects with them. We work on professional dress. You see some of them. This was one of our cohorts last year. You see how great they look. They're just ready to tackle things very professionally. And we take them to that point by the end of the week. And they work on consulting projects with local businesses, so they understand what it's like to come to a college of business, do business projects, and then present at the end. For all of those students, we tend to get about 30% of those that matriculate to Iowa immediately after their senior year. That's a good number for this program, and we will end up with closer to 40% of them because some of them will go to community college first and then come to us later. So we have a really nice yield rate on these students, and we are continuing to try to support them as best we can. Again, based on private philanthropy, we have the ability to give them between $1,000 to $3,000 in scholarships for any student from Gateway that wants to come to the Tippie College. And then we have a brand new program called our Gateway Scholars Program, which funds a full tuition scholarship for 4 years. And that is for in-state or out-of-state students. We had 5 last year. We have 4 incoming this year. And we know that the money makes a difference to these students. When we make the offer for a Gateway Scholar, we have had 100% acceptance. So the difference between 30% attending and 100% of them attending when we have the full tuition scholarship behind it, we know that the money makes a difference for students. And so we're thrilled, and thank you to everyone who's helped contribute to making that happen. I want to briefly show you a slide that Tippie offers degrees that work. These are our placement rates for our undergraduate students. Iowa at graduation is the black line. Our peers at graduation is the blue line. So we are slightly above our peers after having been under them for many, many years. we have made some substantial investments in Tippie Career Services that runs here in our building and works very closely with students to get them internships and great first job opportunities. The other numbers that you see here, the gold line and the gray line, these are placements at 3 months. So that means 3 months post-graduation, really starting back in September. 83.6% of our graduates are reporting that they have positions. So you'll see job market in general is a little harder maybe than it was a couple of years ago, and we anticipate that to be true even more this year. But our students are doing great, and we're making sure that we are getting them degrees that allow them to go out and immediately step into meaningful full-time positions. So we have a bright future. We've got a lot of things ahead of our students. We have a lot of things ahead of us. So I will quickly sort of talk about some of the initiatives we have going, and then a very exciting project that we have on deck, which is our business campus expansion. First thing, a couple of changes that I mentioned. From this point forward, all declared BA and BS Econ students will be Tippie students. They will not take the business core as our BBA students do, but they will have access to all of the great things that we have in Tippie, such as our fantastic advisors from year one, BCAP, which is our business communications course, and our Tippie Career Services, which I just showed you what excellent work they do. So we're really excited, and that I think is the fact that they're coming into the college now. I think that's contributing to that massive growth in the declared econ majors in first-year students. We also have our full-time Master of Science in Business Analytics is moving to a one-year program that has 3 different tracks, 2 of them in managerial AI and another in financial analytics, which is an area where we are extremely strong. And then our Masters of Finance on-campus program will be graduating their final students this year coming up. And the Board of Regents are actually deciding today whether or not we will be permitted to open this program in a fully online delivery mechanism. And if we do, we'll be able to start that starting this fall. So very excited about these changes, making sure that we're able to continue to deliver the highest quality programs to our students around the country and in Iowa City. We also have a program called Tippie Thrive that I'm super excited about, and thank you to the DeWolf family who has made a tremendous gift to help us expand this project. Thrive has really been the term that we've been using for our mental health initiatives, and we have a terrific director there, and she is now going to be moving full-time into designing both curriculum and a peer mentoring program that's really focused on helping students develop professional grit and resiliency. We know that mental health challenges continue to be an issue for our students, for people once they get into the workforce. And so we are really devoting resources now to making sure that these students are given all of the resources that they can have for learning how to manage the stress that comes with being in a professional career. And so we're working it throughout our curriculum because we know it's not enough to just talk to the students who are seeking help. We want to make sure that we're giving people that help proactively by working it into their first year coursework, in their professional prep courses. We know that stress is highest for students when they are looking for jobs and internships and really out there on that job search. So we want to make sure we're providing them with great resources then. And then we have peers that work. You see some of our peer counselors here. They work with each other. Often students are more willing to take advice and guidance from their peers than they are from us. And so we're really working to develop a group of people throughout the college who help students work on these skills. And then a very specific focus on suicide prevention, which continues to be an issue in colleges and universities. AI, I always get the question, what are we doing in AI? AI is artificial intelligence, and the university has put together a terrific steering committee this year that has really come out with some statements that AI is our responsibility to be teaching our students. We know that it will change many things, and it has the potential to amplify everything that we do, to improve our teaching, to improve our research, to improve patient care throughout the university, and also just day-to-day how we get our work done. So we are continuing to be committed to this and make it a priority. At Tippie, we have already integrated ChatGPT in our business communications coursework. We know that students use it, and we want them to be able to use it effectively. So rather than view it as something that students might use to cheat on an assignment, we have the faculty working with them to show them how to use it in a way that's going to be most useful to them and to their employers. Introduction to AI is now part of our core business analytics course, so every Tippie student will get that. And we are introducing 2 new certificates on AI in the Iowa MBA program. The certificate is a 4-course sequence of classes. One of them is AI and technology management. That is really for people using AI to teach them how to use it more effectively in their companies. And then the second is AI and machine learning. And that is a set of 4 courses which teaches students how to develop and create AI. So a more technical certificate. But we are working on that every day. We're teaching our faculty, we're teaching our students, we're teaching our employers how AI is going to change the way that they work. I wanted to introduce already, I think many of you know that we have our Tippie webinars, as Adam mentioned in the beginning, that you can access on the Tippie YouTube channel. But for those of you who enjoy podcasts, we also have a terrific podcast coming out, and we have 2 seasons now. The Tippie Leads podcast, season 1 was on the topic of engagement at work, and season 2 is on managing risk. Each of the podcasts has a faculty member talking about their research or the things that they teach in their classes on a particular topic, and then it has a story being told by one of our alumni about how the topic of that day ends up reflecting in their careers. So they're short episodes, about a half an hour long, really great to listen to as you're driving somewhere, and you get to hear from some of the best experts in the field. The Managing Risk in Disaster Logistics was one of my favorite episodes this season. Professor Ann Campbell talked about how the work that she does helps get disaster relief supplies into the places that they are most needed when basically all of the infrastructure in that area is going to be demolished. So fascinating conversation and research that is directly impacting how people work. So that's what's up in the future. We are also in the middle of a comprehensive campaign. Comprehensive campaign has to do with promoting connections and also philanthropy across campus. Our priorities in the Tippie College of Business are to develop the next generation of business leaders, powered by world-class faculty. Many of you will recognize Dan Collins from the accounting department, and connecting in transformative facilities. So those are our 3 priorities, and I'll talk about each very briefly and then finish with some information about our new building. The next generation of business leaders. This is something that is absolutely key to what we do. Sorry, I didn't know those were going to be animated as they came in. This supports scholarships. It supports our centers and institutes that connect our students with the world, and also our Tippie Rise program, which is research, internships, study abroad, and experiential coursework. In our centers and institutes, we are looking into developing a new center like the Hawkinson or the Vaughn, but this would be focused on wealth management. And so that's a really interesting opportunity for us that we're thinking about right now. Our world-class faculty, these are 2 great examples this year. We were really pleased to be able to focus on Dr. Tong Yao and Dr. Richard Peter, each receiving a professorship. Tong Yao receiving the Keith Cook Professor of Finance, and Richard Peter receiving the Nationwide Professor of RMI. Just really terrific support for these tremendous scholars. All of that is based on corporate and personal philanthropy. And then transformative facilities, the new business building, as we call it. And I put new in quotes because we're doing a lot of things that are renovations and that are additions. This is our first building campaign that we've had in 30 years. For those of you who think of the Papa John business building as the new business building, I hate to break it to you, but it is 30 years old. And so the 30 years that we have been in here have been tremendous, but you've seen how much our enrollments have grown. And so this ability to continue to grow and serve our students is something that we take very seriously. And so we have looked at many alternatives for how can we really maximize the space that we have, to do it in a way that is sustainable, to do it in a way that is coherent and honors the buildings that we already have. And so we will be modernizing a historic space on campus, that is Gilmore Hall, and I'll show you that in just a minute, and building on some footprint that we already have out on our patio area to maximize sustainability. It's a $60 million project, and our lead gift, which I'll tell you about in a moment, just moved us over the 50% point for fundraising. This is a very ambitious goal for us. We would like to break ground on this project in fall of 2026. So this time next year, the people that are in Gilmore Hall are going to be moving, and we would like to be breaking ground as soon as they close the door behind them. And so that means that we have a terrific fundraising goal for this year. We have about $30 million to raise in the next year, and I think that we can do it, with our move-in goal of getting into the new facilities in fall of 2028. I am so thrilled to be able to announce, and this came out in the Press Citizen and Des Moines Business Record yesterday, that we have received our lead gift for this building project. That is from the Tippie family, so it is wonderful to have them continuing to be involved in building and developing and raising the Tippie College of Business to the next level. So thank you for the continued generosity of the Tippie family that will really help kickstart this project. This is an overview of where we are, so I wanted to point this out because I think it gives you the best picture of what we're doing. What you'll see is the L-shaped design that has the caps on the top. That is the Tippie College of Business currently. That is the Papa John Business Building facility that has been here for 30 years. In the bottom left-hand corner of your slide, at least it's left on my screen, is Gilmore Hall. Gilmore Hall was built in 1910. It is one of the original buildings of the Iowa Pentecrest, and it originally housed the law school. So anyone who was here very early on in the history of the Tippie College and of the University of Iowa, you would have gone to law school in this building. And as you see, it is really a coherent idea to connect these buildings together. We sit on the same footprint. Our building, the Papa John building, was designed to reflect many of the lines of the Gilmore Hall building. And so it really just makes tremendous sense for us to modernize and connect to that building. Our architects are Newman Munson, and they have just been a terrific partner. So fun to work with them. They come back with brilliant ideas every time we speak with them. And so this is our vision for the project, to create an expanding business campus where innovation, collaboration, and industry connections advance our mission. And then it goes on and tells you about what our mission is. This ability to connect to Gilmore through a new atrium that we're building, you'll see that here in the dark gold color, to really create the heart of business education at Iowa. We'll connect the buildings. It adds a tremendous amount of space and really gives us a center point where the heart of business beats at the University of Iowa. What does it bring to us? It adds critically needed space, over 50 offices for faculty and staff to support our programs, 3 new classrooms for active learning, an event space for 150 people so that we can host conferences and meetings here where we bring in people from other schools. We'll have dedicated industry spaces where we really connect, focused on them for career services and our centers and institutes, and then some labs focused heavily on innovation, analytics, AI, entrepreneurship, sales, all of those areas where we know that the world is changing rapidly and we need to make sure that we're keeping up. It also gives us the opportunity to build community. We are going to reorganize our faculty offices into co-located hubs where the faculty and the PhD students can be connected and be together and spend more time building their community, much of which was really damaged during COVID when people stopped coming into the office. by building areas and communities where people want to come, that helps us to get people and bring them back in and make sure that they're here and have their doors open and are interacting with each other. It gives us the heart of the building, as I just showed you, for eating, working, relaxing, and just having those creative opportunities to meet each other. And then continue to build our terrific outdoor space on the green. We are not taking away space out there with this building project. We're going to enhance it because we know a lot of our students, our faculty, and our staff use that space as a way to really promote their own physical and mental well-being by getting out in nature. And one of the things I love the most about this project is that it is going to give us the opportunity to really highlight all of our strengths in undergraduate education. When a student and their family, a prospective student, walks into that heart of the building, they're going to be able to see, by standing in one position, advising in one direction, our Frank Communications Center, which we are so proud of in our communications at the University of Iowa. They'll be able to see that, our career services, all of the things that are going to help pull their academic journey together and translate it into an effective first job for them and hopefully a very effective professional career. We'll be able to have them have access to all of those services that are helping them to get what they need to be successful in their academic journey at Tippie. End of the year, it's a time to say goodbye. It's a time to move on for many people. Our graduates, we send them out into the world. We call it commencement because it is really the beginning of something new and exciting for them. But it's hard to say goodbye. And we have other folks that we say goodbye to, not just our students. So I want to acknowledge them because many of you know them from your history with the Tippie College. We had many retirements this year. That is one of the challenges that we have to keep up with hiring faculty, is we have a lot of folks retiring. Dawn Kluber from our Strategic Partnerships Office, and she also used to run the Executive MBA program, so many of you may know her that way. Bob Gedemy in accounting, Yvonne Galusha, business analytics, Mary Knutson in economics. All of those were instructional track faculty teaching in those departments. Oops, there we go. Rick Merault in management and entrepreneurship, Tom Walsh and Nancy Abrams, and Gary Russell in marketing. Some of these folks in marketing are individuals who have taught literally thousands of students over the last several years. And so we thank all of these individuals for their incredible commitment to our students and what they've done for our college throughout a very long history, some of them over 30 years in the college. So thank you to all of them and what they've brought us. If you see them or know them, please congratulate them on moving on to their next step in their lives, personal and professional journeys. I also want to share the sad news that we did lose some individuals this year as well. One of our very beloved professors in finance, Dr. David Bates, who is the faculty member in the College of Business since May 2006. David was a good friend, really good friend and colleague. He's seen pictured here with his wife, Belinda, and we were very sad to lose him this year after a lengthy battle with cancer. So we will miss David tremendously, and we are all the better for having had him with us. I also want to acknowledge the passing of John Miklo. He's an entrepreneur who's been associated with our Tippie Advisory Board for a number of years. And one of the things that John did before his passing, which is going to just really ensure his legacy here in Tippie, is if you come into Papa John and go right outside of the business dean's suite, you will see a herky. And if you zoom in on the herky, you'll see it says Iowa and then Tippie College of Business underneath on his shirt. And this has now become a major photo spot for prospective students when they come in to explore Tippie for the first time, for graduating seniors who are winning awards and getting ready to leave Tippie. It is a center point in our building, and we thank John for that, and we will miss him tremendously. And finally, I'd love to invite you to join us at some of our upcoming events. We are super excited to recognize our alum and young alum of the year in a ceremony on September 12th in the Old Capitol Museum. George Hiller and Santino Moreno are the alumni that are going to be recognized. This is a fabulous event. If any of you know these individuals, please come and help us cheer and acknowledge and recognize the wonderful things that they have done for the Tippie College of Business. And then, just a mere 2 weeks later, we'd love to have you come and join us for homecoming. I wanted to call this out because homecoming is typically in October, and this year it's actually in September. So mark your calendars early. For September 26th, we will have our homecoming barbecue out on the patio in Green. And then the next day we have the Iowa-Indiana football game. We will be having our typical outreach events in Phoenix and Naples and several other cities around the country throughout the year. So if I don't see you in Iowa City, I will hope to see you somewhere around the country. I'm actually heading off shortly. We're going to London to visit with some of our international alumni. So it'll be terrific to see some of you for the first time in many, many years. Thank you for joining me today. That is my college update, the State of the College address, and I'll turn it back over to Adam if you have a couple of questions for me.
Thank you so much, Amy. Yeah, I think we have time. We can maybe get to 3 questions here. So the first question, what percentage of undergraduate students are from Iowa, and where do the majority of the out-of-state students come from?
Yeah, we usually have about a 50-50 split within our students. Sometimes it'll tick up to 52% in, or 53, 54% in one direction or the other. Most of our out-of-state students still come from Illinois, but we saw a lot of good increases this year from Colorado, California, Texas. All of those states are starting to send more and more students here. Again, as I mentioned, that has a lot to do with our building reputation in our rankings. I think it also has a lot to do with the Big Ten expanding to lots of different areas. We are seeing a lot more California students, more coastal students coming into Iowa wanting the Midwest university experience. And so that's been really good for us. Particularly important as that enrollment cliff hits next year, we need to have a brand that is nationally visible. But we're also making sure that we never turn a qualified Iowan away who wants to be in the Tippie College of Business.
Great, thank you, Amy. You mentioned AI is taught in one of the core business courses as well as the MBA. Are there plans to add more courses across all majors?
Yes, there are right now individual faculty members who are teaching AI in their individual courses, but at this point it is really kind of up to the faculty member to be introducing the topic. We're encouraging people to do that. But what we needed to do in the core course was to make sure that everybody had a baseline. And then the university is actually moving to start an AI certificate that students can get from across the university. And we will also have a course that is, I'm hoping, if they select our course, we will have a course that's included in that certificate as well. So we know that it's a topic area that students are eager to learn about, and our faculty are starting to incorporate it in ways that are really most meaningful for their topics right now. So we have an individual, for example, one of our faculty members in human resources teaches how to use AI in selection to make better, more accurate decisions in selection, but also how to avoid bias that can creep into the use of AI in that space. So we're interjecting it in the places that it makes sense and making sure that everybody has a baseline that they can move forward with.
Awesome, great. Next question is, and last question we'll take is about the business building expansion. So will the expenses associated with the expansion of the business building impact tuition costs?
No, this is being all raised through philanthropic dollars. The University of Iowa is providing some support for the deferred maintenance costs on Gilmore, so that is helpful. The rest of it will be based solely on philanthropy.
Wonderful. Well, again, Amy, many thanks for the wonderful program and updates today. And also, we want to thank everyone who joined us for the webinar today. That will wrap everything up for our program. Right after this webinar closes, a brief survey will appear in your browser. We would greatly appreciate your feedback if you take a moment to share with us any insights or any ideas on how we can enhance our future programs. And on behalf of the Tippie College of Business, I want to thank everyone again for joining us. And as always, go Hawks.
Go Hawks!